the thought. Uh, my idea for spreading the mastermind, that whatever the mastermind will be at this point, it can be still called the Knowledge Hackers Bootcamp, or we can basically start from scratch and create the new name and everything. But the model I took from Dean himself. A while ago, Dean, what a year ago, I think it was a year ago, Dean mentioned that he had in mind creating these KBB offline events. And I was like thinking, yes, that's actually a really cool idea. We have people all around the world that are connected through this platform, the KBB platform. And now we will be establishing events offline in a certain areas that will be catering to the people in this particular area. So that was my idea. How we can do that? It's very simple, because once you have the list of IB schools, for example, for a start, yeah, you have a list of IB school around your area. So for example, if you're in a Mexico City, I think you can find at least few IB schools around Mexico City. What you can do, once we have our mastermind format, right, we have the program, we have something to deliver to those students, you just go to these schools physically as you and talk to a person who is responsible for contacts with the parents, or with a PTA organization, right? You can come to them and present or just show, like, organize a workshop for the parents for free about what we're doing, right? So you can, it basically, the idea is this: instead of going for the webinar that is the same thing for the whole world online, you take that webinar and you bring it to the school that you're going to visit, right? And then once you have, for example, once you've done it in 1, 2, 3 schools, you can collect emails from the parents who actually resonate with the message that you gave them, right? This is how the program can start. Once you will do it in the Mexico, for example, Ellie could do it in Santiago, Francis could do it in Barcelona, I can do it in Kuala Lumpur. Somebody else, like Gigi, I know she's stationing in Miami, for example. Whoever else is doing this with us is doing it in your respectful area, finding those schools, going and delivering the free workshop that we designed together, right? And we have the list of emails from the parents to the students. We can start actually delivering the first part of the program to those students. And the end part of it for me was organizing a bootcamp for these students. So once I have the parents who resonated with my message, then I have students that I shared some information with, right? Also through the school, their own school, I can come to their school and do it. And then the third part is the fun part for the students. Let me take you to the boot camp, like a weekend boot camp, where you can have something, you can meet other friends from other schools around your area that have similar problems that you have, and together with them, you can solve your problems while being under an eye of few experts in this particular business, which is us. And then you, as a person on the ground, is running the whole thing, but you have our support through like, if you're doing it in a event center, most of the event centers, they have big screens, and you can, for example, just show them a little session that I will be running through the screen with the students that you gathered, right? That was my idea, how we can deliver this quite easily. And once the program is there, it just requires you to go to these few schools, do what I just said, and we have at least few students from each school that can bring you money right away.
Okay.
But that,
I won't be doing that in Mexico. I'll be doing that in Sweden if it happens that
Sweden
way.
will definitely have IB schools as well. But it doesn't have to. It doesn't even have to be an IB school. If you just Google international schools in Stockholm or wherever you're going to be, right? All the international schools, they will be the schools with high fees, high entry fees, right? Like tuition fees. So
Mhm.
that means these people have money, right? And you can go there and just or give them the first initial workshop with the support of the whole team behind you.
Yeah. Okay. I understood that from your original description, that the boot camp part in particular, as well as, but I'm just interested in what your thinking was about the first contact, because the first contact implies that the program is ready, the program isn't ready. So the first step that we have to take collectively is to create the program, and that requires the contact between the individual members of the organising group
Mm-hmm.
to establish ideas for that and depositing them on your drive and our own as well, and
Mm-hmm.
tweaking it like
Yeah,
offering constructive.
that's the important part. Tweaking it, right?
Yeah,
Not just
that's right.
looking, but tweaking. So let's maybe do this. I will try to post on our Facebook group, the Game of Life group. I'll try to post a little agenda, a little plan, right? Like a plan that is basically following this. I just created like this thing, 8 commandments from the millionaires going billionaires, and this is basically 8 steps how you create your business plan, right? From the vision, mission, strategy, uh, operational plan, quarterly goals and focuses, monthly targeted, and weekly milestones, finally to today's to-dos, right?
Uh-huh.
And
My
this is from Victoria, by the way. Victoria gave me the access to this, so this is not my knowledge. This is Victoria's knowledge, but I find it very useful because this is pretty much what every successful CEO of a big company is doing. That's how they plan. How they break down the tasks to from vision to everyday tasks. So I will
okay.
try to do that for us, and we'll see if people will resonate with that.
Well,
Uh,
that's a good test to see if we resonate with it. I prefer to resonate with what we've got already, and we've all paid for, and that is the program. I think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
on a very superficial glance at the 8 commandments. I don't like the commandments much.
But the thing is, that don't get me wrong. This is just like a plan how like or the
Yeah, an
way
example.
how we can plan our action. And I think we already have the vision and the mission, even the strategy. We already touched that. So I would look more into actually the operational plan. I think like we are in this point right now, how we're going to operate within this group, what we're going to do, right? So
Well,
one.
yeah, that's yeah. I mean, the beginning point of KBB, which I enjoyed very much, was the word philosophy and the overview of what the purpose, the mission of KBB was,
Mm-hmm.
which I find um, less fiscal, less orientated towards business. But I take your suggestion that this is an example of how to structure the
Mm-hmm.
pre-planning that's necessary, and that I've been emphasising in my communications that we need to coordinate the preparation, have something, a program ready for distribution before we start marketing it. Because if we get people wanting to
Mm-hmm.
join up to do it, and we don't have anything to offer them, which has a sequential element to it, and
Mm-hmm.
to think carefully about that idea in terms using that metaphor of the wagon wheel to
Mm-hmm.
think about how the coming to the game of life can give extra life to all the elements, all the spokes of the wheel, like Ellie and Santiago and her individual businesses, and Francis in Barcelona, etc. So that's the idea of reciprocity of energy, which you were referring to yourself, can be feeding and sustaining self-interest on an individual basis in a collective way, like the I to we becomes an intercambio of energy that's not separated, but people can see the advantage of being very, very involved in the game of life in order to sustain and develop their own particular projects, and how the individual projects can feed back into and nourish the game of life project. So that is a sort of a habit that we have to develop, and the structure for that you've established on your drive. And yeah, that resonates with me. I feel good about that idea, because that's why I use the word co-creative rather than collaborator. Collaborator is one of the words that was used for the people who supported Hitler during the Second World War.
Yeah, we don't want to be that.
We don't want to be collaborators. I don't want to even use the word collaborator. I'd rather use the word co-creators. It's much more friendly in my feeling about it. It's more subtle and more flexible. Collaborator is, anyway, that's just simply knowing the history of the word, nothing more. It's like using deadline or crush it or kill it or those things.
The bottom line is that we're understanding that we want to be a mastermind, right? We want to be a connected mind, connect our minds to create something together, right?
That's right.
So let's use, just like you said a second ago or a minute ago, let's use what we already have in the Google Drive that you have access to in the game of life. One thing that I definitely recommend to start with is the dream avatar. Okay, I created this document a while ago, and I know that some of you already seen it. This is quite detailed description of the avatar that I had in mind, right? But you can all edit this document. As far as I know, you should be able to edit this document and add your stuff when you open it through via the Google Drive. You'll be able to read it and edit it or add comments, right? That's how it should work. So you can see that there's quite a lot of information about the avatar that I had in mind for the game of life and for the knowledge hackers. And you can basically add to it your thoughts. Second thing, this one I think you all should know as well, the game of life, vision, mission, and general goals, right? It's also there. If you want to like elaborate about this one, like, or add something, modify something, think about some more specific information here, you're very welcome to do that too. So once we have that, we have vision, we have mission, we have the niche, the avatar, very specifically described. We have a very good base to start with, right? And then the next part would be, what are the pain points? This is also a part of the avatar. We need to know their pain points. So then we decide as a collectively, as a team, so which pain point we're going to solve for them first, right? My idea was the first pain point we want to solve is make them very confident about the choice of tertiary education. That was the pain point I wanted to solve, and I find it really like important thing to solve for them, right? So when whatever they're going to choose, if they're going to go to college, not go to college, or go to college and do something else, doesn't matter. We had the book, right, that I recommended to all of you guys. The book by Michael Horn, right, and Bob Moesta. This book is giving us all the research we need for this particular problem to solve. We only need to use it in our program. right? And we have big guys behind us. They made interviews with over 1,000 students. We don't need to do any more research. We already have all the research we need. Only need to use what they already did, right? And we can solve this problem for students. How to choose your school, not only for students, but also for the parents.
Okay.
How to help your child to choose the right thing. Everything is there. I mentioned that already a few times. Also,
Yes,
here
you did, but just to intervene on that matter, their sample group was all North American students.
as far as I know, not. I think they were doing the research in US because they are stationing in US, but the research group was students from all the different backgrounds. So they were not only interviewing American kids, they were interviewing Asian kids, European kids, American kids. They were interviewing students right after high school, but as well the adult students, right? So they had a really wide range of the sample group.
Okay,
It wasn't just the high school students who went to college right after high school. It was also, for example, students who were dropouts from college before, a few times, for example, and still were coming back to college for some different reasons. It was students who were already working in a business, and for example, on the way during their work, they decided they need to go back to school in order to get to the next level. So they had all sorts of people in this research.
Okay, well, that's good. That satisfies my query. Cultural difference makes a difference.
Yeah, they had a very big, wide range of students, and I think it's like I said, we can in the book, at the end of the book, I think they even give you. I don't have the book at this point with me because I gave it to one of my students actually. But at the end of the book, as far as I remember, they even give you the questionnaire that they gave to the
Oh, that's good.
people
That's good. Okay, good. That's good.
right?
That's a good backup, and we can use that as one of the platforms. I think one of the platforms, and as we expand, we can be adjusting and developing different aspects to this, because the concept of education is vast and needs to be explored further than other people have done. Because by the way, I mean the established, all things that have been published don't include the stuff that we're going to publish, and we must be thinking about that. I think is important. And we have, from the individual talent that we've gathered, we have a fountain of other wisdoms, let us put it that way, to supplement and extend the importance of education, and in the context of world events that are occurring at the moment, to make it relevant for the future. It's education innovation, and it's innovative because it's flexible and it's resilient, and it has the capacity to adapt to vastly different experiences that my grandchildren and children are experiencing in Australia right now, and other people have in Venezuela and elsewhere, as we confront climate change and the effects of that. That is going to be an issue of great anxiety. Climate anxiety may well become one of our educational headings, one of our offerings, either done individually by one of the members of the group, or two or three, or else in the main course. So I'm just giving a plug to ourselves and the work that you've done, which is very, very sound and extraordinary, and you should be applauded for it. And if only your family understood what you've done, they wouldn't be so down on you for that. And this is true for, I suppose, certainly true for me. And it's very difficult to get the support that we need, and we have to give each other that as we go forward. So that's my little, it sounds like a closing comment from me, really, that one.
Well, thank you for noticing all that was done. But at this point, I think what my family said is also important, how we can actually monetize all this work, because
Oh,
we
sure.
cannot live from thin air, right?
Exactly, my
And
friend.
so I would like to suggest something for actually all of us in this group over here. I know that there is a lot of different pain points and problems that we can solve for the students, and a lot of us might actually already have an idea what you want, what problem you want to solve. But I'm thinking that as a collective group, we can actually choose one problem that we all want to solve at this particular point of time. My suggestion was this, that we can solve them this problem. Let's give them a solid foundation how they choose their education, whatever that education is. I did, like you mentioned, a lot of work around this already, and we can, not only me, but also people like Bob Moesta and Michael Horn, right? Those people are also working on the same problem. They've seen the same problem that I've seen, and they are trying to do this. But the book that I mentioned is new, and I think there is a lot of place for us how we can actually monetize the work that was done by them, by me, but maybe some other members of this group, and we can just solve this one problem as a starting point. I'm not saying that we're going to finish on this, because we can always make more masterminds right after this one, and tackle other problems that you want to tackle. But we can choose one thing right now. We already chose the avatar. If the avatar is a teenager, and confused, ambitious, and wealthy teenager, we have that covered. We have to choose one problem we're going to solve for these teenagers. It can be the one that I chose, and we have materials for it. And then if we agree on this, that we all want to do this, the next step is to actually put it in action, put this plan in action. So what's going to be the next step we're going to do? How are we going to design this mastermind that will be solving this particular problem for these students that I mentioned? Okay, so that's pretty much it. That is my suggestion. How about all of us decide, yes, let's solve this problem for these students. If we all want to do this, then we can move on to the next step.
Okay, I agree. I don't think that's in debate with me at all. The actual first step is sensible from lots of different angles, and including the money aspect as well as anything else. But the only adjustment I would make for it is that we're rather helping them solve their pain point, giving them assistance to strengthen them in order to the questions that they need to ask and that sort of thing, rather than feeling as though we're going to come and solve their problems for them.
Yeah, but by
we're strengthening their capacity to resolve problems, not only in the choice of high school, of the college and universities, etc., but also in their personal relationships and other things like that too, which are very.
Us solving the problem for them is not us telling them what to do, it's just us telling them how they can do it, and then keep on doing it for themselves in the future.
Okay, good. That's
what I mean by solving their problem. I don't mean that we're going to be advisors, like, you know, like I'm going to listen to the student, and after he will tell me his story, I will tell him, yeah, you should go and be an engineer, or you should go and be a dentist, or whoever else. It's not about this. We already know how it works. We need to give them a foundation that the school is not giving them. Even the elite school is not giving them that foundation. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses, right? And based on that, based on their personal profile, they choose something, but they also have to know how it works. Like most of the students right now, in the survey that I made, when I asked them, why do you want to go to this school? Why did you choose? I was talking with Sasha lately, one of my students, why did you choose to go to the law school? I asked her, and she just said, because I went to the Big Future engine during my classes with the counselor, and I put in all the information about me, and they gave me two options that I should choose this or something else, and I felt like this was better, uh, and it fits my profile. It fits my profile, you know. And I said, yeah, but why do you really want to go to this school? Why do you want to become a lawyer? Do you know what the lawyer is doing? Like what your work is gonna look like? And she was not really sure. She just said, well, lawyer is a good job, and it's a well-paid job, and it's a respectful job, so I think it's gonna be okay. That's it. That's her knowledge. That's how she based her decision on only this. It fits my profile. The job is good because lawyers earn good money, and it's a good school. It's a renowned school. My mom checked, and we'll be going there. It's like the school is producing good lawyers. I think it will be okay. And
Yeah.
I'm right. That's it.
Okay. I understand. I do understand that, but and I also understand how valuable some of, in particular, well, Tony Robbins and Dean's stuff is for this too. The 7 levels down, the 7 questions of why. What is, as they in their languaging, what is the superpower that they have? If they've ever asked themselves these sorts of questions, would be good too. I think they're relevant to this. Do you think so?
Of course. I mean,
Good.
all these things we started to record on the Knowledge Hacker podcast. We have right now 12 episodes. Throughout the first few episodes, I was only talking about this.
Yeah, I understand. That's why I'm very well informed about your objective and mission, Michael, and that's why I'm here talking with you, because I share it. Okay, so you don't need to make any particular speech on your own behalf for that at all. I mean, did you get my, just on that point, did you get my recent message to you, I think after your video about as you're walking the streets of Kuala Lumpur?
On Facebook. I think I haven't got back to
you have a look at that as you spend your afternoon. It looks like it's your afternoon there now. And I'm admitting to getting very tired from Mexico at the moment, and I'm very pleased that it is recording. I have got the recording, so I can send that to you, and join the library, the videoteca of the game of life as we're living it at the moment, the planning of it, which, as I think it was Francis suggested, would be very, very useful in an edited form to share with prospective clients, the parents in particular, to show them how much work has gone into preparing for this and the ways in which individual people are going to contribute to it. So that's, I think there's sort of a trailer would be very good to have a thought about a trailer and taking out what we think are the key little moments of the various videos in a trailer, and that would run very well on Instagram, I think.
Yeah, and we have to, you have to like make sure that once you're saying this right now, there is a lot of work behind that. Like, so the talking, the discussing, the brainstorming is one thing, and then editing all this and preparing those key moments from these discussions is yet another time that you have to sacrifice.
Well, if you knew me better, you'd know that I've spent, I can't count the number of hours, but it would be in the thousands editing and presenting videos on YouTube. So I know about the time involved in it, and I also know that in the university that I'm leaving doesn't regard that as academic work, and so you don't get any credit for it whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's why we're here, right?
Over 300 videos that I did on the history of this new university that have just been disregarded as academic work, which is one of the reasons I'm in KBB and one of the reasons I'm cheerful about the outcome from the university, because I've got a lot of stuff, most of it's in Spanish. But I think that'll be an attractive feature further down the track, and Ellie can help in that part too. Been a good discussion, my friend.
I just wanted to ask you at the end, do you actually had a chance to discuss like with anybody else from the group over here, one-on-one maybe, or in whatever mode in 2019?
Have I spoken one-on-one with, say, Paul Gordon?
Or Gordon? Yeah, Paul, Ellie, Francis,
no, I haven't.
Whoever else is in the group.
I have not done that, but I could initiate a discussion with Francis. I'd like to talk with Francis. Gordon, Paul's off the charts at the moment. He's got too much on. I've proposed to him on quite another project, a podcast thing to do with language, but he's not hasn't got that as part of his future agenda at the moment. It's a bit down the track for him. Ellie, I've written to her. I've contacted them by email, not by email, by on Facebook, and made comments on them, and but I haven't arranged a meeting with them. I could do that, and I think the first person I would contact for that would be Francis. You're speaking with him on Friday, aren't you?
Yes, Friday morning, Barcelona. I'll be talking to him. I know that Francis, for example, bought a full package for ClickFunnels.
Yeah, no, that's a lot.
The ClickFunnels, they were doing like a Christmas promotion, the bundle for everything. And as far as I understood him well, he bought it. He bought the whole package.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another idea. Like one way we help each other is to actually collaborate on creating something that's the mastermind. But the other thing is when we're doing it, we're all spending money on different things, on software or on like even the space on the cloud, right? Whatever else, like you have to have the mailing platform, right? Whether it is MailChimp or any other way, any other platform, that all these cost money, right? Yes, and I'm thinking right now, when Francis told me about this, like I'm paying for ClickFunnels every month right now, even though I'm not producing any funnels that are earning me money, right?
Right.
I still have to pay every month for ClickFunnels, right? And I was thinking, okay, so we actually have quite a few people over here. Every one of us needs that. How about we actually collaborate on that too? Like we can limit our expenses, right? If Francis has the whole thing, well, it's basically obviously a matter of trust, right? Because if it's under Francis's company or his name, then it goes everything goes through him. But at the same time, he can share the link, the password to his ClickFunnels, and then we can see what is there, right? Obviously, he's in charge of something at this point, right? Of the finances part, because it will be going through his account. But if we can all see that, we can see, for example, that this funnel generated this money, this funnel generated that money, and that if the funnel belongs to you, for example, so that money is yours, and he can transfer the money to you. I'm just thinking right now how it could work, right? Obviously, it's not something that is, we go and do this, but I will be discussing with Francis about this. I know that he was also thinking about how we can limit the costs.
Yeah, collective, either by contribution to one product, if we can give access to the one you've just described as you're throwing your big hands over your forehead. It is confusing, like how would you work out the costing and the accounting and which funnel ends what and what percentages and all that sort of thing. It's difficult, but there is a good sense in collectivizing our assets and making use of them in an efficient way, if it's possible. I'm very much in favour of that, and I've got several software products that would be useful too for promotion. You know, stuff from Chatterpal. I was a Chatterpal advocate for for a year and a half too. So I've got all their programs, and we could make an inventory of the software that we've got. That would be helpful.
I believe as a collective, we have quite a lot of things that we have access to, and it might be actually super useful for whoever else in the team, right? Even if we are using.
My only thought about that is someone else must have thought of this before, and that would not please the software marketing people. So there might be some prohibition on multiple use. That's all.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually even heard, like when I was going through the policy in the ClickFunnels, that they don't really appreciate when people are just using it in a certain way, like, you know, sharing your own account with multiple clients. But in this particular case, since we're working on the same case, we are working together, right? It's not like we're gonna start doing our separate things, right, and then just use one software for our own things. We want to do work with one niche and start solving problem for this niche, right?
Yeah.
So it's different.
Right.
Eventually, it should become a one company, like you mentioned, the World Education Innovators.
Yeah, like the international.
Should be one company, international company at certain point.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I think that's what it should be. I mean, the concept's too good to be privatized, as it were. I mean, it needs to be put out like the international thingo that you belong with, the organization, the International Baccalaureate Organization. It's like that. It's like KBB.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is to use KBB to promote another one like that would be excellent with its focus on education. It would become the sort of website to go to, the funnel to go to on IT, internet. Where do you go to find out about education? Oh, you go to the World Innovators whatever it is, you know, the World Education Innovators.
That was also my initial idea, that we would be like a entry-level program for KBB. And by entry level, I mean we're catering to children, K to 12, right? That's our niche. And from the moment that they're actually becoming adults, young adults, we can pass them on to KBB, that will then show them how you can now use this knowledge, right, to start your business.
Yeah, sure. Whatever the program is at that time.
Yeah, that's like.
Yeah, but we've got our own. Well, we're working out our own individual styles, and the combination of uniqueness amongst the members of the organisation group will form a beautiful DNA molecule. That's what I think. Unique, life-giving.
Well, that sounds like we established something. Let's hope that we will have some answers from the other members of the group. My plan is to try to establish a call, just like the one I have with you, with other members of this group, and try to go through some information with them as well. But what I said before, if we can actually establish that we want to do this, that we want to work on specific problem for this niche that we were discussing in 2019, and then we can create a plan, and everybody can have a part in it, and just push it step by step to the end.
2020, brother, new decade. Yeah,
it's gotta be ours.
We'll share it with some other people, I'm sure. However, we've shared well today, I think, and I thank you for the call, or my call. I thank you. Thanks for the mess up at the beginning. Not thanking you for the mess up, but we negotiated that quite well. And I'll hear from you sooner or later. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Well, and at this point, I can only ask you to, uh, I don't know if you're gonna have time to edit this recording. Maybe cut out some essential elements to post on the group, so they can also see it. And I will be doing the same thing with others. I will try to post all the important information I will exchange with Francis tomorrow.
Okay, man. Well, you enjoy that conversation. Give a grand abrazo to Francis from
Yep.
John, and I'll see you soon.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.